Guys, so for our report, we decided to focus on virtual reality, and specifically, we decided to focus on the user interaction and how humans actually interact with virtual environments. So I'm going to quickly talk about the history of VR, which is one of the areas we focused on. And as with all things in technology, it comes back to science fiction, and there's a lot of mentions of it in history. But the most notable one is in Pygmalion's Spectacles, which describes a device that lets you see, hear, feel, smell, and taste an area that you are not in. And obviously, down the years, people have taken this idea and ran with it, and we now have the advanced complex systems that we have today. So obviously, immersion and realism are massive elements of VR, and they're huge things that industry tries to attain inside the actual environments, because it increases people actually want to use this stuff, and it makes it more realistic if there's the actual immersion. And the biggest part of immersion is how the humans physically interact with objects that are virtual. So I'm gonna lead on to the other guys who are going to talk more specifically about some of the findings we had in relation to actually interacting with virtual reality environments.
Okay, so thank you, Harry. Once we looked at the brief summary of the history of progress in VR, we moved on to reflecting how they've impacted current technologies. Specifically, we researched the first instance of haptic suits, 1994's Aura Interactor, which utilized vibrations from sound output to create force feedback, is in stark contrast to technologies today which use electrical impulses to stimulate the nervous system. We also looked at other technologies that have experienced the same massive progress, such as data gloves, which were first introduced in 1997, but are still experiencing progress to this day. The progress haptic feedback has made even our most basic controllers, from their vibrations in 1976's motocross to attempts now at stimulating more complex physical sensations, such as with the elast oscillation.
A new piece of technology that could impact the future of VR is called the Tesla suit, which is a full body suit that improves the feeling immersion through sense of touch with haptic feedback. Included within the suit are a collection of biometric sensors that measure the suit user's heartbeat and other indications of stress in any type of environments. So this has potential uses, unlimited potential uses in immersive gaming, for instance, but also in training new employees, seeing how they react in certain environments and hazardous conditions.
Another technology that we were looking at, as mentioned before in the slides, was the elast oscillation by AMC, which is a 3D printed rig attached to most generic VR controllers, as you can see there, that hosts a weighted ball connected to the rig by elastic bands. The aim of this is to try and create some amount of force feedback that's while the user is moving the controller around and things, so when they're picking up stuff in VR, it feels like it has some amount of weight to it and gives them a better sense of realism while they're playing their VR games or doing something that's a little bit more academically based. There's some looking to the future, they're looking to make it a little bit more advanced and being able to hold the weight still with these elastic bands by putting them under tension, so that when a player isn't holding something in VR, they're going to be a bit more, they won't have any of this force feedback on nothing at all, as they currently do now. But yeah, that's the elast oscillation.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm just going to talk quickly about the far future implements that VR could potentially go. Obviously, we've all seen The Matrix, the kind of sci-fi, you're fully in the environment and everything. But I really think that's the end goal of virtual reality, for it to be indistinguishable from actual reality and for people to live out entire lives in it. So some ways we're going forward with that is brain computer interfaces, which if you look at the slides, you can see the guy with all the dots on his head. So he can use that brain computer interface to actually control what is happening in an environment. Now, this combined with other kind of virtual reality tech, such as like sensory inputs and the suit that you wear for haptic feedback, could make a really, really immersive experience. Even maybe in the far future, we're looking at stuff like implemented devices, so everyone has a virtual reality implant in their head, like the Elon Musk's Neuralink is kind of a first step towards that. And I think in the next 50, 60 years, we're definitely going to be seeing people augmenting their bodies, and people being able to fully live out a life in virtual reality. Probably quite a scary concept, but definitely one that is feasible. Well, thanks for listening to our presentation, and hope everyone enjoyed.